So did you get your sneakers, Patty?
Oh, well, it's funny because Phil said, "You coming on tonight?" I said, "I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Did
I'm coming on. I want to
they fit
revel
right?
in my winnings."
Yeah. Do they fit right?
Yes, they're great. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
good.
And
Oh,
my
you're welcome.
grandkids loved them, by the way.
Oh, really? Good.
Yeah,
Okay. Because you said either black or pink or black and purple. So I just picked the first black and pink Asics I found. That was really it.
very, very nice. Yeah, my grandsons got it off the front door. They thought it was for Papa,
Yeah.
and they said, "No, Nana, it's for you." And then they tore it open, and they said, "Oh, look at these shoes! Look at them." They thought they were the bomb.
That's
So,
awesome. That's awesome.
yeah,
So for people who
thank you.
didn't, no, you're very welcome. For so people who didn't tune in last week, we had Lucas in here, but we basically had put a little wager on it. So we broke down the top six, each top six, and who got closest to the top six. And then me and Patty had a little bit of a side wager, which was I thought Antoine Vaillant was going to come out ahead of John De La Rosa. She said John De La Rosa was going to come out ahead of Antoine. So she won, and I had to send her a brand new pair of ASIC sneakers, which I did. I sent it to her because she won, and I'm a man of my word.
Yes, thank
But
you.
the downside, Patty, is that you got every other pick wrong.
Listen, man, this is the
from
thing. When
from
Phil
one
said,
through six. I
I
sent it to
said,
Phil.
I said, "Oh my God, I know they're horrible." But here's the thing. I did preface it with saying it all depends on who shows up that day.
Well,
And
yeah,
we
that's a
all
given,
got
sure.
screwed by Horse MD. I'm sorry,
Oh,
man.
me too. I
He
didn't.
really screwed all our
Yeah, he
things
really.
up.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually was the closest.
I heard.
I had number four off. I had Horse and John De La Rosa, and then number six I had Antoine and Akeem came in six. But if Akeem didn't look better Saturday night because he was originally in seventh, I would have only had one wrong. But it is what
Damn
it is.
Akeem.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk
Hey,
about the
listen, I warned all y'all about Akeem. I said, don't forget about Akeem. He was
yeah,
like, oh, well, listen, hold on. I got my choice words for Akeem. And I was like,
yeah.
he's a dark horse, man. You just can't count him out.
No, you know what it is? The problem with Akeem is it's just a coin toss.
Mhm.
Sometimes he comes on and he nails it, and sometimes he comes on and you're like, what happened? He's not consistent. But as far as muscle, I mean, he has more muscle. He's
Yeah.
massive, and when he comes in shape, you could see his structure, is visually better when he's obviously in shape. But all right, so Patty, don't feel so bad because Dorian also got every pick wrong too.
Boom.
Yeah, yeah. And Phil got 3 out of 6. Luke got 3 out of 6, and I got 2 out of 6. But where'd he go? He disappeared.
Dorian got pissed. He disappeared.
Yeah.
Hey, listen,
So
it was tough. A lot of them came. It just really screwed us up. Those
what?
those
Yeah, Patty. So
pictures
what?
online.
Oh
Damn
yeah,
it.
you can't go by Instagram pictures between
I
the
know.
lighting and the filters and what part of the gym they're in and what shot you can't, because then every time you go by a picture on Insta, and then I found out that the pictures that Horse MD were putting on were from last year. They weren't from this year.
Wow.
So it's
Really
like you
dogged
really
us.
can't you really can't go by the pictures. I mean, obviously everybody's going to look, but so Patty, give us
Yeah.
your what do you think the highlights and lowlights were of the actual show?
Wow. Well, a highlight has to be Schwarzenegger raising the purse for next year.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that was like he literally, and the way he said it too, it was kind of a zing, I think, towards the
Yeah.
Olympia. Because he's
Yeah.
like, I don't have to follow the rules and whatever.
Yeah.
500 grand.
Phil decided he's going to retire after next year now.
Yeah.
'Cause
I
he's
know.
going
Feels like, what the
to.
hell is this BS? All these rates are getting raised up now that I'm on my, end of the career thing. All these things are getting jumped up. It's crazy. They're like
I
battling each other.
I bet you, Phil, if you applied because you'd get picked
Oh,
because
I believe I would have got in because I won a pro show.
yeah, right.
I mean,
Yeah.
and I was in the Master Olympia, so I believe I would definitely get. The only sad part was I prepped so long last year. Blue was like, it's just not a smart move health wise to come back so soon for a show. Which listen, as I'm gonna listen to my coach and listen to myself as well. As bad as I would love to have jumped on there, it was just better for me not to do it.
Yeah, listen, you got to listen to your body. We'll get to Samson in a minute because I want to continue talking
Yeah.
about the Arnold, because we actually there's a whole bunch of stuff that we got to get to.
Well, that's the highlight. What's the low light?
Well, I mean, I'll give you my opinion, but I want your opinion about the low light first, Patty.
Well, I don't want to kick him when he's down, but no, I mean, I was really hoping that Samson would come in incredible condition and
Yeah,
show us what we've all been waiting for. But then on the other hand, you know, he is 38, which I researched it and it said he was younger than 38. But when I
Okay.
talked to him in person, I said, you're still young. He's not, he's like, well, no, I'm 38. I said, what? Online it says you're like 32.
Well, that happened with me and your husband. The first time he came on, I thought he was like 52 or something like that, because that's what it said online. And I
Well,
felt
this one said Samson was younger. They said Phil is older.
yeah.
They got Phil like 55 now.
I was like, great, this guy's never coming back.
No,
What
so yeah, so he's like, no, I'm 38. And you know, I think about that and now what we see, which I know you're gonna get to, it's a lot on his body. Like he's been the guys in the past that used Phil and I were talking about this. So the guys in the past, like Milos, and then they used to do a gazillion shows.
Yeah, different time.
They were not the size of someone like Samson.
100%.
And so to carry that and to keep doing show upon show upon show is very hard. I was telling Phil too, I heard Samson live in the athletes meeting. He was filming it. And I told Phil after, I said, he's breathing really heavy.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting there. It wasn't like he was walking around or whatever. And I was like, people just don't understand what it's like. I don't, but I've seen Phil. I've had to literally like push him out of a bed or pull him up out of a chair. People don't understand weight is weight. So it doesn't matter if it's muscle weight or fat weight. If you're carrying around 300 pounds, that's very hard on your body. And then you add in all the other stuff. I'm so happy I hope he doesn't do the Arnold UK. And Phil and I talked about it too and said he shouldn't. It's too much.
Yeah, well, since we're on the topic,
Sorry.
We don't know. It's okay. We don't know exactly. He basically just said that his body felt like it was shutting down. It was not responding. He went to the hospital, and he doesn't know if he's going to do the Arnold UK. And I'm on your page. I'm on the same page as you, Patty. I don't think he should. He did the Olympia last year. He did the Prague. He did, what was it, Romania? And then he came and did the Arnold. You know, take some time off. You qualified for the Olympia. You could literally just concentrate on the Olympia. You know, your health, he's got nothing to prove. I mean, I thought he looked good on stage. Could he came in a little harder? Yeah, but Hottie's conditioning, even if he did come in 10% harder, Hottie was still
I mean, it ridiculous. Was just,
you know, what do you think, Phil? Let me get your opinion.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna piggyback off of what Patty said. I mean, we spoke about this as, you know, for his whole competition season and going to the new year. You know, I was gunning for him to win because he was a champion. Deep down in my soul, honestly, I knew Hottie was going to bring it because Hottie had a point to prove. So I really knew he was going to bring it. But I'm going to back Samson. You know, I mean, I've spoke to Samson. Samson treats me very well. He speaks. I mean, the guy's a super guy. So I'm going to back him either way as a champion. It was disappointing, though, because it looked like he came in bigger and he was super full, but the conditioning wasn't there.
And so he was even fuller on Saturday night.
Yeah, so the thing is, he looks like, I mean, the shape and structure is there. He's a freak, he's a monster. Like, just his structure makes him look unreal. And it's disappointing, not just to me, but I think it's disappointing to a lot of people because we're like, okay, he said, wait till you guys see when I come in Friday, everybody's going to see. Remember, I said this on the channel last week, but he said that for the Olympia. You know what I mean? And he has the potential. He don't have much time, though. So whatever's going on, I mean, we'll never know the full truth. You know what I mean? Even Fuad is sugarcoating some things. But we're not going to know the full truth. Point blank is this. His body is tired. It needs to rest. If he does not rest, he is not, I think his placing will drop in the Olympia if he 100%. Does not rest.
Yeah, he's got to rest. He's got to. Dorian, give me your opinion on what you thought of the Olympia. Jesus. The Arnold Classic. Yeah, the Arnold. Sorry, man.
Well, you started with highlights and lowlights.
Yeah, go ahead.
In my head before Patty swayed my decision, and she did. That is quite the highlight for Arnold to be able to bring that prize money up to what it is. All the professional bodybuilders are grateful for that.
Oh yeah.
But
And
the highlight of the show was Samson from the front, and the low light of the show was Samson from the back.
Yeah.
you know what you know what I just couldn't get past? I think the commentating is just god awful. It's just horrible. I don't know who Todd Harris is. Fuad and Dennis James have the personality of a wet mop. I don't know who the bikini girl is. It's just horrible. I mean, it's just and the only time the commentating got a little interesting was when they got to the the open, right? Because then Fuad and Dennis James got into it a little bit. But the
Yeah.
whole but the whole time they're interviewing Arnold and then the bikini girl, I can't do the bikini girls. I can't it's just like and then like the girl who was commentating for the bikini, it was like so typical. She did not want to say this one, point out a flaw or so on. It's like all the girls look wonderful, all the girls look great. I think this one's gonna pull off. No, maybe that one could pull it. And it's like, oh god, I just want to bang my head against the wall. It's
They
awful.
should have had me as a commentator. I'd tell them straight up. That one looks like crap.
Yeah. There was one girl, I swear to God, I'm not kidding. There was one girl, I don't know who she was. She looked like Michelle Obama. Did you see her? She was tall with like the same hair. And I was like, who is it? I don't know. I think she was a UK bikini girl.
Oh
But
boy.
I understand why they set it up that way. Because if you just did the open and you had left
Oh,
the
yeah, you
bikini for
gotta-
it, nobody would watch it. And then if you did the bikini first, nobody would show up. So they had to stick it in there. But
I
watching
thoroughly enjoyed Dennis going after Fuhad, because he was like not backing down on some of the stuff they were saying. Because
Yeah.
Fuhad, of course that's his guy, so he was just gonna, oh, we don't know, and Dennis is like, no, we know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got to be rough. You see how Phil does it, where it's like, listen, I want to pick Samson every time he's up there, but I have to pull my emotions away, and Samson is special to me because he was the first elite IFBB bodybuilder that I had on my show.
Wow.
And this was like 3 years ago where he was like, it was during, or almost 4 years ago, during COVID. And this is when I didn't know where my show was going to go. I didn't break it up into channels. It was all mixed up, and it was not a problem. He was like, yeah, no problem, I'll come on. And then matter of fact, I actually screwed up the time. I thought he was 5 hours behind me. He's 5 hours ahead of me. So he's texting me in the morning going, are we doing this? And I'm like, and so I said, man, I got it messed up. Could we do it next week? And he's like, yeah, no problem. And he came on, no problem. And ever since then, he comes on without problem every time I talk to him. And he actually opened the door for other bodybuilders to come on, because I'd be like, oh, would you like to come on? And I'll send you the link. And I would send them that I interviewed Samson. And then like, oh, okay, well, this kid's not, this guy's not, just a Johnny come lately, right? He really had people on, and then opened the door. And after him is when I had, Jason Arns and Phil and Dorian, and you go down to Factory and Jose and Jay Cutler and so on and so forth. So
Oh, you had Jay on this?
Yeah, I had Jay Cutler on. I interviewed him. That was great. All we talked about was how much money he made.
I'm thinking to myself, I don't think you enticed Phil at all. You were like, I don't have to tell him that Samson was on or anyone else. You're like, Phil's just gonna come on. You didn't
Yeah.
give us any like, Samson was on my show. You come on too. You're like,
No,
Phil, just get on here.
No, I didn't. No, you're right. By the time I got to Phil, I was
You were a baller. You're like, Phil's coming on my show. Like,
yeah, exactly.
you're lucky to come on my show, Phil.
No, I would never. I couldn't do this without you guys. Are you kidding? But where the hell was I going with this? All right, yeah. So
how much we love Samson and we want to see him do good, and we can't go against him, but we have to go with the real.
Yeah. So I realistically, Hardy, I had to pick him because he came in second in the Olympia, former Mr. Olympia, and blah blah blah. Even though when I was sitting there cheering, I was cheering for Samson. I was like, just give me that upset, just give me that. I didn't care about our little wager we had going on. And the same thing with De La Rosa. I was glad De La Rosa proved me wrong. I was glad Akeem, came in Saturday night looking awesome. But because when you know somebody, like Phil said, when you have a relationship with somebody, of course you want to see them do good, you know?
Yeah.
But Dorian, did you see, I like what he does this though. Tyler Mannion, like after a big show, after he's like the head judge, he comes out and he explains why somebody won, somebody lost. Did you see it?
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw it. Yes. I
Yeah.
saw that he put something out, and it was about the judging for the open class of the Arnold.
Yeah, he put out for the open class and he put out for the classic, right? But for the open, he said that when he judged it, it was clear cut. He could tell Hottie was the winner. Like he didn't even have to go through pose for pose. Was it that close, Dorian? I mean, was it that much of a blowout? Rather, sorry.
Like I said, Samson from the front could have won the show if he looked complete in every angle, the way he's complete from the front. But as soon as Samson turned around, he's lacking depth in his lats and his back in general. There's not a lot of separation. He has no glute striations.
Yeah.
Like you said, he needs some time off to kind of let his body get freshened up. But when you turn both those guys around or to the side, it's just Hottie's definition. And it's one of those things. If you don't have the right resolution on your television, be able to see some of that detail versus Tyler Mannion's position where he's sitting 15 feet off of him in real life. It's obvious sometimes who just maybe that 1% in conditioning and that 10% in fullness. And in my opinion, Hottie just stole a show.
Yeah, he did. He looked amazing. He literally gives a new definition of the phrase grainy. You know,
yeah, his was good.
Like Phil,
especially from the
absolutely. Phil, everything is grainy on him. Like you could see muscle fibers in every part of his body. It's unbelievable.
When he did his front relaxed, and you know, I mean, I'm not always a fan with some of Tyler's critiques. Sorry, that's my opinion. But Tyler nailed it. I mean, when he stepped out, like some people you knew they were in shape, but from the quality of the TV, you couldn't really tell. But let me tell you something. When he did that front relax, I saw everything on the quality of TV, regardless of the streaming. It's unreal. I don't think there's any human being as a bodybuilder is going to come in that it was ridiculous. You saw every single fiber, and then he brought his waist in.
Yeah, it was
when he turned. Oh, dude, when he turned to the side, that waist just disappeared. Yeah. I was like,
and he was doing a vacuum when he did a front double body. He was doing a vacuum. I'm like, look at this. Holy shit. He really did his homework.
That's a big thing too, I think, is that his side shot, sorry to interrupt you, is ridiculous. And we see him train when he's not on stage and we don't understand where his stomach goes. Not to say he has a huge stomach, but he's literally like, it's like a pancake and flat. And Samson was having some trouble with his. In between on some of the, in between some of the poses and stuff, especially his lower like abdomen was coming out a bit. Yeah. So I think it was the way he was breathing. And I think Tyler even mentioned that in the video about how he needs to breathe more.
It's the muscle bellies. Because I used to have that issue too. When you have really thick, deep muscle bellies, even though he was trying to suck it in, it's the muscle bellies. He couldn't. It has to be shaved. I know Samson loves doing tons of abs, and he'll do it backstage prior to coming out on stage. Like he'd be busting out crunches. You know, when I did the Boston Pro, that's all he's back just busting out crunches. I'm like, who the hell does crunches before you go on stage? You know?
Yeah, really.
So he's so used to doing that, and I think it defeats the purpose. He was sucking it in, but them abdominal bellies they weren't going anywhere. They just stick out.
Another low light I just thought of just popped in my head. I was bitching a moaning when I was watching this. I can't stand it. And I know it's very easy and it's better for them to actually display their physique. But this whole slow ballerina posing going on in open bodybuilding, it just kills me. Like what happened to the Mike Matarazzo, the Metallica, and he comes out like an animal and he gets the crowd going and he's posing like a psycho. Like at least they all do this. I just can't. I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know. I'm just from a fan's perspective.
Billy, you mentioned that.
Yeah, but let Doran explain.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about switching my routine up this year. It's kind of talking trash on the direction I was going. I was going to come out with like 30 seconds of a White Zombie song, something hard.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
something a little slower. But you're discouraging it, John. You're ruining it for
Listen,
me.
you know who's the king of slow music, but he just pulled it off every time was Dexter Jackson. I mean,
Yeah,
Dexter pulls off every slow. He pulls it off with his physique. But
but
even with me, with music, like Patty brought one to my attention yesterday, and I was like, no, bro, they'll be falling asleep in the crowd. There's no way I'm playing that. You know, it has to be some up tempo. If you want to start off a little bit slow and then boom, it picks up. That's a different story. But when the whole thing is slow, I think you lose the crowd. I think they
you
fall
do
asleep.
100%. There's no question about it because as a hardcore bodybuilding fan, open bodybuilder is supposed to be the biggest, jacked, roundest, hardest people on earth. You don't want to see ballet. You want to see them pose like a damn silverback to some, music that's just crazy. And I don't know why they don't get a DJ to mix something together that is nobody's have heard it before, that you get the crowd going, and maybe it's like there's a little bit of slow and then it picks up or something.
Yeah.
Because it's just boring as all hell. And I don't know. I can't do the whole.
That's what Phil has. Phil has a DJ that does all his music, and he always does that. He does it slow, and then then like pumps it up. But he got away with that too. It was Sean Roden at the Olympia. When he did that slow one, I think it was the one he won.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal.
I mean, I don't, I just can't, Dexter, to me, Dexter never bothered me because Dexter had this energy on that stage where he had this, I don't give a shit energy. Nothing bothers me. I'm still the champion, even if I come in dead last. He had that kind of energy on stage. So I kind of it kind of worked. But I don't know, man. I want to hear some guitar riffs and some headbanging music and and remember Matarazzo when he used to come out like a nut job and the whole crowd went nuts. I don't know. What do you think, Dorian? I don't know. I think you should do something.
I'm trying to remember Mike's stuff.
Really?
And some of his routines, and I know he hit that most muscular and stick his tongue out, shake his head like that.
Right. Yeah.
It was wild, and it did get the crowd really good. But I've been doing this for a long time. I've done like 60 shows, and from what I've gathered and evolved my posing to is generally something that's heavy. And I always kind of cater to the IFBB judges in a way, and kind of their genre and type and era of music. I want to get Gary Udit, or I want to get Steve Weinberger with, what they like, if that makes any sense.
So you would find out what their favorite type of. What if you find out Steve Weinberger likes Tony Bennett? Would you come out to that?
No. Maybe I would. Float anything.
Fly me to the moon.
Yeah, that's brown nosing on a whole different level.
Yeah, Steve will be like, cut it.
Yeah.
Cut his music.
Or put something funny on, or do something who is the Two Life Crew, Big Booty Hose or something fun, entertaining.
Well, you can't have cursing in it.
You could. I know, but if you have a DJ, you could blank it out.
Yeah.
Who
was the one that used to pop and lock and?
Oh, there was King Kamali was one that was great.
Yeah.
There was Vince Taylor did it too.
Melvin Anthony,
and there's another guy I'm thinking of. It was Vince Taylor, Melvin Anthony, King Kamali.
Marcus Haley was a good poser.
Freddie Smalls.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So
he did that at the Masters, bro. It was like he was a gymnast.
On
stage.
He
it was
unbelievable.
Though.
We had him on. Actually, he was on with Phil, and he was a gymnast.
It was unbelievable. He was doing splits 10 feet high in the air. I've never seen anything like it.
I don't know. I think the posing round should be entertaining for the crowd. I mean, you got to sit through all the mandatories. That's when you comparing and contrasting, right? And then you come out, and it's all right, it's one at a time. But okay, you want to hit some poses for the judges, but then it should be entertaining the crowd. I don't know. Yeah, that's just my opinion. It's just
no, I'm totally on board. That's what I do. I have a small little routine, and there's a section that I just go. I don't even know what I'm doing. I black out. I'm at one end of the stage. I'm calling the crowd. I'm just, so I love that part. The crowd loves it too. When you get them all involved, that's the best.
Phil starts
Absolutely.
shaking his butt like a stripper.
Dude,
He's going back to his stripper days.
she's not holding back, man. She's telling you
No, she's telling the whole business. Yeah.
But all right, so okay. So let's get to Samson. Odds are we don't know for sure. Odds are Samson's going to be out of the Arnold UK, right? I think it's best that he does because doing Patty's right at that size and doing that kind of show, the Olympia, the Prague, the Romania, then the Arnold. It's not my, he's been dieting for how many weeks, I mean, so
Weeks, months.
and then they're saying that Hottie's having a tougher time getting getting a visa to the UK because supposedly he can come over here on a work visa because he's partners in what is it?
Ava John or whatever.
Yeah, Evo Jan, whatever it
Yeah.
is, and it's an American company, so he can come here on a work visa. It's a lot more difficult, so he might not be in it. So that means, you're talking about James Hollingshead, John De La Rosa, Moshe Ban, Anton Valiant, Akeem Williams. That's about it. I think Nexzilla and Andrew Jack are not doing it. That means that there would be a pretty weak lineup if that happens.
Yeah, and just by you now saying that, I even though as much as I would rather him sit out, but by you saying that and knowing Hadi may not come out, I thought Hadi's going to go home because Hani made it clear he's been in Dubai for months and he's been away from his family and he wants to go back home.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wouldn't it be easier to go from Dubai to the UK? I don't understand.
I don't know. I don't know because I don't know the conditions over there.
Right. So, I mean, I can see Samson now. I mean, even if he wasn't 100%,
it's an easy
just from
victory.
that lineup, he's going to go for the paycheck.
Yeah, and he'll well he already qualified for the Olympia, and Rafael Brandao I think is sitting this out because he's doing the Arnold Brazil.
Yes.
Yeah. So if that's the case, it's going to be a pretty. I mean, I'm still going to watch it, but that's going to be a pretty.
Oh, Nexzilla might come. I think Nexzilla could get into the UK.
Oh yeah, but is he in shape?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
I think that's the one he's going to do because he couldn't do the one here.
Is he in shape? I haven't seen him. Actually, let's look him up.
If Brandao was doing the UK, he would win if the other two were out.
Oh, 100%. I couldn't agree more. Let's look up what is his name? Rubiel
Mascara.
That's him.
Does he have anything where he's saying that he is in shape?
You don't look like he's in shape. I'll tell you that. You don't look in shape.
If that's the case,
who could trust these pictures anymore?
Yeah, where is that? Welcome to Germany. And that was 5 hours ago. I don't know. It's not really telling you much. I don't know. As of right now, I don't think he's.
Yeah. No.
I don't think he's going to be.
Think so.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything recent that looked like he was in shape, but
yeah. I mean, you could tell he's not peeled. So, he only got a week and a half. And this was 6 days ago. Yeah, I doubt he's doing it.
He necessarily gets peeled anyway. I think if he was in Ohio, he would have
got destroyed.
Leveled up.
No, he would have got destroyed because his shape is similar to Horse MD with the giant legs and not catching up to his upper body, and Horse is better proportioned than he is. I know everybody likes the mass monsters, and Dorian, I mean, you could attest to this. We've spoken about this before. I know everybody likes the mass monsters, but you gotta be like the full package. You can't just, I remember when Marcus Rule used to come on stage and people would boo if he came in, 5th, 6th, or 7th, and it's like, I get how everybody likes the mass monsters. It's great, and I'm a huge fan of them too, but you gotta have the full package. There's no way a Marcus Rule is gonna beat a Flex Wheeler in 2001. It's just not gonna happen. And I think more people go on who's popular, the emotional drive they have within that they want to pick and see win, than actually just looking and dissecting and understanding what goes on. I put out a video, Dorian, right? Last year.
Okay.
I put out a video. I did it by myself, and it got a whole bunch of views. I forgot 10,000, 12,000, or whatever. And the video was about why I didn't think Nick Walker was going to break the top for in the Olympia. And I gave all my reasons and so on and so forth. And I know he's a fan favorite, right? And I'm a huge fan of his too. But I have to, he wound up getting hurt, not doing the Olympia anyway. But, you know, when you break it down, his Achilles heel is his shape. And all those guys, Brandon, Hardy, Derek, Samson, they outshape him and they outstructure him. You know, and I was saying, I don't think he's going to be able to surpass those guys. I had him in 4th place. I had, you know, Derek, Hardy, Samson, and then Nick, and that he would have dropped 1 placing. And the people in the comment section were killing me. Just killing me. And I actually messaged him to come on, you know, and he goes, he goes, didn't you make a video about me dropping in placings at the Olympia? And I said, yeah, I did. I said, well, you know what? You know what you do? Prove me wrong. This is before everybody knew he was hurt. I was like, prove me wrong. And I messaged him. I was like, come on my show, prove me wrong, go in the top 3, and I will make a public apology on every one of my platforms that I had it wrong. Right. And that was really it. But I don't know, Dorian, give me what your opinion is, because your physique, you're massive, but you have good shape as well. So give me your opinion.
Well, from the beginning, you know, I started as a smaller guy, and I really respected. It's kind of the thing about bodybuilding. Some people are born with shape. Great aesthetics is 100% genetic, but you got to respect the hard work and the amount of effort and consistency and dedication that it takes to put on those layers and layers of massive muscle. We're not just talking about muscular. We're talking about fucking huge.
Right.
Now, you can't change the genetic shape of somebody's structure, but you can change the amount of mass you have on. So, you know, there's a level of respect there for me. And everybody else, everybody sees it. That's why they love Marcus Rule. That's why they love Ronnie Coleman. Mm-hmm. But Ronnie Coleman, you know, he had the narrow hips and the narrow waist. And when you have the combination of everything, that's when you have a Mr. Olympia. Right. And you saw that with Phil Heath. Not only did he have the shape, but he had the size. But for me, you know, I really respect that size, but the way that modern bodybuilding is, these judges are not going to give you any love if you're just fucking massive without any aesthetic appeal.
Right.
So, you know, with me, they kept telling me, you got the size, you got the size, you got the size. So I'm doing everything I can to kind of work on my aesthetic appeal, making sure my midsection is as small as possible, make sure I'm balanced as possible, and still fucking huge and ripped. So
right.
I'm, like I said, I don't think I'm the most genetically gifted aesthetically, but I do think I've put in the time and the effort to put on that extra muscle. So me personally, I've always been a fan of the big muscle. So I'm always a fan of that and the guys who can do that.
Me too.
And, you know, everybody's got their opinion on what they like with bodybuilding. But me personally, you know, I respect the aesthetics. But at the same time, there's nothing you can do to change that. But anybody can change the amount of, you know, body mass they have on. Mm-hmm. And that's like a badge of honor, putting that much muscle on. It ain't easy. It ain't easy.
I can only imagine, you know. Uh-huh. Patty, well, last questions about the Arnold, then we'll move on. Hardy comes in the Olympia the way he came into the Arnold Classic. Is he Mr. Olympia?
Oh, he would have beaten Derek, no doubt.
Yeah?
No doubt.
What do you think?
100%. Yeah, that's what we talked about.
What do you think, Phil?
His coach said it.
Yeah, you know, he did.
And that's how I'm going to answer the question respectfully. You know what I mean? Hani said it. Dave Palumbo asked him, and he did not second guess it one time. He said, yes. Shut it right down. Yes. Yeah. And it's a fact. If he comes in like that to Olympia, I think Derek is like, I got to go fucking put some work in. I think that shocked Derek at that show. And I think Hadi, he already knows the secret now. He don't need to put on size.
That's right.
He needs to stay completely the way he is. And they went back to the old school way from when he was up and coming and keeping that conditioning. He still put some size on his quads, which I don't even know how he can do that, staying as lean as he does year round. But yeah, this Olympia is going to be really, really interesting. Really interesting.
And that, you know, we've had this conversation before, and that's why I would never want. I know you guys were, you guys didn't agree with me, but that's why I would never want a trainer or a coach that my direct competition,
Yeah, I know.
and he's the same trainer. Like, oh God, could you imagine? You're basically saying, yeah, Derek would have lost, right? And I, I just would want, I
Yeah,
would
he didn't
want,
hesitate. He
yeah.
literally said he would have won. And that wasn't a dig on Derek from me saying it either. It's
No,
just
listen,
that
we gotta
Hottie
say that
is that good.
we gotta
I think
call
it's
it. We gotta
more
call a
saying
circle
Hottie
a
is that good.
circle. Oh
You
yeah,
Hey,
there's
know?
listen,
no
Tyler
question.
said it. Tyler said it. Hottie comes in the way he comes in, and a lot of people are saying he's unbeatable. He's unbeatable. Who's going to match up to that level of shape and conditioning?
Nobody.
You know what I'm saying?
It's yeah.
So, and honestly, tell you the truth, Derek got to respect it. You understand? He's Honey's what is it? I won't be messing up. What you guys have been with Hani longer than Derek. You get what I'm saying?
Hottie.
That's where the tough thing comes in when it comes to Hani. You know what I mean? Because Derek just came on board. But I don't think under no way, shape, or form, just from what I know about Hani, how like Blue tells me, because Blue was coached by Hani, the high level of respect Hani has, I don't think he's going to coach anybody any better. I just think, what you call it, he just trains harder. He's an animal, bro. They said he was training for 3 hours a day in the gym.
Yeah,
Who the
I would
hell
just.
does that?
Yeah, I would just want I would want us against them. I want me and my coach against you and your coach. I would not want to hear say, and I would want. Here's what I would want, right? I mean, and if I was a champion bodybuilder, which I'm not, but I would want Hani to say, yeah, right. Yeah, Hadi would have beat Derek, and then I would have wanted my coach to step in if I was Derek and go, "Oh yeah, well let's see what happens. Would you care to put a wager on that? Because Derek's going to take it home again, and cause that you're increasing your clients or your athletes' confidence, and you're causing some controversy, which brings attention to the show. That's kind of what I would want to see. You know what I mean? And I mean, I don't know. He's a better man to me because it would drive me crazy if my direct competition, I had the same coach and he's got to go back and forth. I'd be like, I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go
Can I
ahead,
say
Patty.
something about coaching?
Yeah.
You all heard that Milos is not coaching Samson anymore.
Heard that.
Oh, really?
They split.
How come?
No one said.
Oh, I
Milos
did.
announced it, and then he made a video about it, and then like Fu had posted on his announcement, Samson's not in the hospital, he's
That I
not
saw.
retiring, all this kind of stuff. But yeah, Phil and I were talking about it, and we also said like we were wondering if he was going to leave Milos after this, and Milos even said in his post, we did not bring him in at his best in the Arnold.
Well, I kind of understand it. If you think you have drained the amount of knowledge in your coach and he's brought you to a certain level, right? Especially at that level, especially at Samson's level, and you're that close, right? I wouldn't blame him for going with somebody different. I mean, Jay Cutler did it when he lost in 2008. He was with Aceto, and then he went with Hani and wound up winning again the following year, 2009. That's when he came out with the leg stomp and that's the whole thing, blah blah blah. So at that level, I mean, look, I know it's you develop a personal bond, but we're talking, legendary bodybuilding status at this point, right? And I kind of, unless there's an argument or something like that, I would hope that they just parted ways on good terms.
Yeah, that's how it seemed. It didn't
Yeah.
sound like there's any animosity at all. So we were trying to figure out who he was going to go with. Samson now.
I don't know who's Tudor or Tour, whatever his name is. He seems
That was
to
one
So yeah,
person.
that's Couture and the freaking Chad Nichols, but I don't even know if he's gonna. I don't know if he's gonna go that route. I mean, probably he'll have his wife coach him. I don't know, but
Oh, that's
uh,
right.
at the end of the day, listen, like I was telling Patty, listen, at the end of the day, you can have a good coach, but it all comes down to the athlete. I mean, you can tell a coach, nah, I don't feel comfortable with doing that, and just not do it. You know what I mean? So can we completely blame Milos? I'm not a fan of Milos's protocol, but I love the guy in general. He's always
Right.
been a supporter of me and a lot of other bodybuilders out there. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the athlete. Are you taking charge and saying if you believe something that you're doing or something being implemented is causing you not to come in the level of conditioning? Because really, when it comes down to conditioning, honestly, it's not the drugs, it's the freaking diet.
Yeah, I
Or
agree.
you're going to suffer. And Samson has a physique. He's, my opinion of Samson too, don't use no protein. You're already
Yeah.
dark enough. They
Yeah.
even said that. He was so dark, too dark, matter of fact, with the protein that it's hiding certain features and lines on his body. So when you're that dark, I don't think you should even go in a protein room. You don't need it. You know what I'm saying? But it comes down to what, it's dieting. It's dieting for anyone to come in peeled. I know that for a fact. I learned between all the coaches I had, you know what I mean? And I had some that, I had to part ways, not because they weren't a good coach, because the attention. As a pro, I wasn't getting the valid attention as a pro I needed. So because I left a coach that was pretty damn good. Not well liked, but pretty damn good. It wasn't Phil Binns.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it wasn't Phil Binns. But even when I was with George is a good coach, but we weren't nailing it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? We weren't nailing it. So, but George is cool. I could just talk to him, and he's always happy if I move on. He just wants success. I moved on, and as soon as I won the Orlando, he was one of the first ones of excitement to reach out to me, right? So training with Blue, I suffer. The diet is not easy. So, it comes down to the dieting. Now, when drugs are implemented, you as a adult and an athlete could not entertain certain things. So I just want to say it's not always fully on the coach, because I see some great pros leave coaches for the stupidest reason. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's fully the blame, but he doesn't have much more time, which is age, and he has to make a move quick. So I really hope and pray he can do it. He dropped a video today. I don't know if you saw the video he dropped today. He was a little distraught, a little bit nervous, and I guess people are talking tons of crap about him, and he don't need to make no video. And this honestly,
how,
man,
I tell you, this industry is something else. What are you going to talk about crap about Samson for? If Hadi wasn't there, he's the winner. Then you would be saying Samson is the greatest bodybuilder. He might win Mr. Olympia and so on and so forth. Right? It's just unbelievable how people just throw you under the bus in a heartbeat because either a bodybuilder came in better. I don't think Samson was that off. He was off, but I don't think he was that off. And I just think Hadi just makes everybody look off. And he's that great.
Correct.
But the thing is, though, and this is why I don't, and even though Patty pushed me a lot to be on social media, I don't. Because listen, when you welcome these people in your life, like Samson, you never used to be big on social media. Now I think he overdoes it a little bit. But no one has a right to sit there and come out of their face to disrespect, tear down, or discredit. Like he said, nobody knew him 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right? So why discredit him? You know what I mean? And talk about him when it impacts his family. It's a damn freaking shame because we don't know how he's handling this. Listen, like the other day I said when we were talking about, people going through emotional stuff and anxiety and all that stuff. Us as bodybuilders, it looked like he took a lot of this stuff from these people to heart just by watching them speak.
Yeah.
And all I can say to Samson is, man, I love you. We all love you. But don't let some idiots chop down everything you built throughout this time by putting your hard work and dedication in. Don't let nothing anybody say tear that down. Ignore it. I wouldn't have even made a freaking video. They're not worth my energy and my time to speak about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I fully agree. You got to give this guy his credit. He took the last 3 years of his life and he went from maybe a third tier bodybuilder to literally top 3 in the world, one of the best in the world. And he loses a show and everybody's kind of like counting him out. And it's like, come on, guys, give me a break. We've seen better comebacks than this. It's just ridiculous. Now, don't get me wrong. I've had my share. I shit on bodybuilders who, just can't, like, I've destroyed Lionel Becky. I'm just because
Yeah,
I'm
that was a disappointment. He was a
yeah.
disappointment.
I've wrecked. I've just verbally. I'm like this guy, right? And then there were guys, and then there were guys like him that I just don't want to put the work in. And then there were like guys like an Akeem or Justin Rodriguez who just can't nail it. And I'm like, is it genetics? Because it's not like they're not trying, right? They've been in this business for a long time. They're on the big stage. It's not like they're not trying. You see them working hard and so on and so forth. Is it just their genetic limitations? I truly believe that is part of it, because if you go down like, look, man, I don't care how hard Dennis Wolf would have dieted. There was no way he was ever going to beat Phil Heath. That's it. You
No,
know,
Phil was a beast.
yeah. So I think there's a lot of guys out there that they just have a genetic limitation, and they try real hard, and they have to come to terms with the fact that, all right, I am a second tier bodybuilder. I'm a top 5 in the Olympia, or I'm a top 10 in the Olympia, or so on and so forth. The worst, the absolute worst, I can only imagine when you have to come to terms with yourself that you're number 2 and you can't beat that one guy like Kai Green. I can only imagine the frustration Kai went through when Phil just beat him every time at the Olympia, right? Or like Flex when Ronnie beat him every time at the Olympia. You know, I can only imagine that frustration when you're that. If this guy wasn't alive, I'd be the best in the world. I can only imagine what it's like to
Yeah.
deal with that.
Well, Jay mentioned that during his speech about Ronnie,
Yeah.
that until he finally, beat him. But he can imagine some of these people, they just got screwed with who they had to compete against during their era.
Yeah. Right.
It's
right.
like, damn it, I got to compete against Ronnie Coleman. Like, shit.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%. Or if you were competing against Dorian Yates or Lee Haney during that time. I mean, nobody was beating Lee Haney during that time. I mean,
No.
there was no, I mean, that was unbelievable. So I do think there is a component. I mean, obviously, if you don't work hard, it's not going to come together. But I think there's a genetic component, and I think guys like Akeem, Justin Rodriguez, Juan Morel was another guy. I mean, you go down the list where it's you give 110, 120%, but you're just not gonna make it there. But you know what the funny part is? Here's the funny part. Me and Dorian talked about this. The funny part is the guys that have to learn every ounce of information to get ahead, like a guy like John De La Rosa, or even a guy like Phil, right? They turn out to be the best coaches. The guys that are supreme athletes, they're terrible coaches. You never saw Lee Haney or Ronnie Coleman or Phil Heath train somebody to what could they possibly tell you? Just pick up the weight and lift it. It worked for me. I don't know what to tell you. But all the great trainers are guys that just couldn't really get to that
Make
upper
it.
echelon, but they
Yep.
learned so much to try and get ahead, like a Hanet, like a George Farah, like a Palumbo, like a Cito. Who else?
John Meadows.
John Meadows is a great example. Yeah, exactly. You go down the list, and it's what the funny part is. It's not just bodybuilding; it's every sport. Every sport. I always go back to boxing because I'm a huge boxing fan. But it's like, do you ever see Freddie Roach became one of the greatest trainers ever? Did you ever see his? Did you ever see some of his old fights? He got the shit kicked out of him.
Oh, that's probably why. Didn't he get Parkinson?
Yeah, he had
Yeah.
gotten Parkinson's, and but I mean a bunch of them. I mean, you go down the list. There's Buddy McGirt. I mean, even in football and basketball and baseball, the best coaches always turn out to be the guys that had to try the hardest to keep up with everybody else, and everybody else was just God-given gifts.
Yep.
And it's the same thing. It's the same thing in bodybuilding. All right, I just wanted to bring up one more thing, and I'll let you go, Pat. I figured we could talk about a little gossip. Did you see? I can't stand this guy. I really can't. I don't even know why I'm bringing it up. But did you see the Greg Doucette video he released? Did you see that, Patty? I can't.
I can't stand his voice. So
I don't know how anybody sits through 10 seconds of a video with him with that voice.
I didn't see it. What was it about?
He was in his hotel room. I'm going to speculate. I don't know, but it looked like he was on something, right? he was sniffing a lot, and he was talking a mile a minute, and he was talking about judging bikini girls and that he was a judge in Canada. And he was talking about how you judge a bikini girl and saying things like, if a girl comes on, you just think, would I smash her? Would I smash? Would I smash?
Wow.
And then looking at a nice juicy butt, and they have to have full lips, and he starts going, oh, I got full lips, I could have been a good girl. And then he starts kissing into the camera, and I'm like, what is this guy? Just cringy shit going on. I don't know what the hell he had to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's
It was
out there?
just
I
cringy.
can't listen to him. It sounds like he talks through his nose.
Yeah.
And the screechiness, and he yells. I can't.
Yeah, me neither. He sounds like my Aunt Nene from Brooklyn. That's what he sounds like. He sounds like, I'm like, oh God, I just can't.
And he was awful as a pro anyway, so
yeah,
he couldn't cut nothing.
I don't know how. There are certain YouTubers I don't understand how they have a following, and that guy is like, as soon as he starts talking, I shut it off because I can't deal with it. But
Yeah.
I don't know. But did you see it, Dorian?
No, I'm just like Phil. That guy makes me fucking cringe.
Yeah, I can't deal with that guy. It's awful.
As soon as I hear his voice, I'm done.
And if you get and what the funny part is, I didn't even know he was Canadian because I don't follow him. Like the next day after he released that video, what is it? The CPA, the Canadian Physiques Association, something like that, released a message saying, I actually have it. Hold on, let me see. They're saying that. Hold on, and then it says the Canadian Physique Alliance, the CPA, working under the umbrella of the NPC, places great importance on the judges who play a crucial role in ensuring the credibility and professionalism of the sport of bodybuilding. It is essential for judges to uphold high standards to ensure fair competition and maintain the trust of athletes, fans alike. In response to the situation involving former CPA Judge Greg Doucette, it is important to note that he no longer holds a position as a regional judge for the CPA. What else does it say? Following his unprofessional conduct using the credibility of the judging system for his own personal gain. I'd love to know what that is, because it says
It don't sound good.
no, it definitely doesn't. The credibility of the judging system for his own personal gain. His continued actions with his recent rants and further proof that his removal was warranted, as they undermined the integrity of the sport and compromise the fairness of competition. Blah, blah,
Maybe
blah.
he was getting favors for.
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got nothing, but you gotta, look, man. I joke, but you gotta have professionalism. There's a difference between a joke and actually, taking advantage of somebody because they want to place higher in a situation. I mean, again, we're speculating. Who knows? I don't know. But he was fired for a reason, and then he goes on and does these crazy, stupid videos. He looks like he's high as a kite. I don't know. It's just me.
Well, I'm sure bikini girls, after seeing that video, wouldn't want him to be their judge.
Well, you got to go back if you can. Go look, Patty, because first of all, it's like a trend. It's like watching Housewives. You can't look away, right?
Oh God.
And you got to see all the comments. The girls were just trashing them,
Yeah.
But anyway, all right, gentlemen and ladies, Madam Muscle Talk, the Queen of Muscle Talk. Thank you for coming on, Dorian. Appreciate you coming on every time.
Yes.
Phil, of course.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank you so much, and thank you for my shoes.
Oh,
and
you're very welcome.
I just want to say a shout out to your follower. He said that chick doesn't know what she's talking about De La Rosa beating
Antoine.
What's his name? Antoine. Well, this chick was right, and I got sneakers out of it, bro.
That's right. Never doubt it. Never doubt it. Guys, we'll be in touch. Thank you very much. I appreciate everything.
Thanks.
Later, Patty.
Later.
Bye.